welcome to Pro Pickleball Power Rankings with Kaitlyn Kerr, Matty Pickles, Zane Navratil, and me, Eric Tice. This is going to be a regularly scheduled podcast where the four of us power rank everything in Pro Pickleball. We'll be doing power rankings of MLP players and teams in April, but for this one, we're going to be power ranking individual players. Before we get into each category and start the debate, let's learn about the four hosts of the show. KK, please introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Thanks, Eric. What's up, guys? I'm Kaitlyn Kerr, aka Pickleball Chick. I've been obsessed with pickleball for 4 or 5 years now. I put together the ownership group for one of the Major League Pickleball teams, was a host, and now I am a host of the Talk Pickle to Me podcast. So pumped to be here. I'll turn it over to Matty. Matty, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, my name is Matty, and one day I just came home to visit my dad, and we had a sport court in the backyard, but it was a pickleball court all of a sudden. And he said, "Matty, we're pickleball people now." And ever since then, we've been pickleball people. He was one of the original owners, founding owner of the Texas Ranchers Major League Pickleball franchise. So I just kind of dove fully into pickleball, used him to get a bunch of connections, met Zane, met Eric, met Kaitlyn, and here we are. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, churning out pickleball content, and also a YouTube channel where I do occasional recaps.
God, that was so shameless, Matty. I'm Zane. I play pickleball. I talk about pickleball. Yeah, I feel like I've got the Pickle Pod. I also have a YouTube channel, Matty. So people are going to be seeing this, I think, on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, but,
so that
but
should go
people
without
actually
saying.
watch your YouTube channel.
Honestly, if you're a nerd, you'd probably love Matty's stuff, to be honest. No, I like Matty's stuff. It is worth checking out. Not because he plugged it. That was shameless, but it is good stuff. But anyway, I will pass it over to T-Dog. Somebody who I've been able to become pretty solid friends with, and stoked to do this with him. He is the man behind the keyboard, so it's good to put a face for Eric Tice.
I'm the Pro Pickleball content writer for The Dink. I cover everything related to pro and college pickleball. I've been covering pickle for a little over 2 years now, and actually, in getting ready for this, I was counting them up, and I just passed my 250th article covering the sport. I fell in love with the sport during the pandemic and was introduced to it by my mother-in-law. I'm super excited to be here and talk pickle with everybody. Kaitlyn, why don't you take over and tell us what we're ranking?
Sorry about that. Maverick in the background is going crazy right now, so I was paying attention to him. But okay. All right. So we're going to power rank and debate 5 total categories today. First, we're going to cover women's singles. We all blindly power ranked our top 10 singles players in the world right now. After women's singles, we're going to power rank and debate the top 10 men's singles players. Then we're going to do the same for each gender in doubles as well. So keep in mind, the doubles rankings are taking into account both a player's ability and results in gender doubles and in mixed doubles. Lastly, and probably the most heated topic we have today, is who is the best overall male pickleball player in the world? We thought this is a very relevant topic right now, as there seems to be a 3-horse race in this category. Matty, can you start us off with some women's singles?
Yeah, so let's talk about women's singles. So again, we all ranked these players independently of each other and then threw them all into an Excel sheet together. So this is what we came up with. Now, one omission here is Megan Fudge did not crack the top 10, though she did receive some votes. And there are a few things we have to talk about. First of all, Annalie Waters is in first place, which should come as a surprise to absolutely nobody. And then we kind of have the next tier of players, which is Leah Jansen and Kate Fahey. Now, I had Kate Fahey at 2 and Leah Jansen at 3. I just think Kate Fahey's had a really strong, pretty much the back half of last year into this year has just been, incredible. She's really made a name for herself. But Zane actually had those flipped, and Kaitlyn didn't have Leah in her 3rd spot. She actually had someone else. So I'd like to hear what you guys thought about this and why you may be different from me and Eric.
Leia's playing good ball. Leah Jansen is back in singles. So I do think Leah playing well I think Leah is the second most athletic player out there. She moves unbelievably, and she covers the kitchen line like a male player does. She has a very explosive first step, which really differentiates her from most of the other women. So I think when Leah is playing good ball, like, she's very, very difficult for anybody but Anna Lee to beat. So I think Leia's back. Not to say that Kate Fahey isn't playing great ball. Like, she's obviously on a great upward trajectory. I just think Leia can take the paddle out of other people's hands.
I like what you said about her at the kitchen line. I think there is truly nobody better than her there. She has great reach and she has great anticipation of where people are gonna, try to pass her. I disagree on the fact that I actually think Kate is a better overall athlete. I think that Kate is able to get to a lot more balls. She moves more swiftly throughout the court. Kate, obviously has been dominating on her forehand side. A lot of the commentators like to talk about her lack of the backhand from the baseline. I actually think in when she played in her tennis days, her backhand was her strength, and she's actually had wrist surgeries on her opposite. So she's a right-handed player, but she's had a lot of wrist surgeries on her left wrist because of her backhand being dominant in tennis. So I think that's going to come along pretty quickly. And I think, when Kate's playing her best, I think she has like a pretty high win rate over Leia. And yeah, I think we also debated this. I just wanted to say this. Eric, unfortunately, is not on right now, but we debated this a couple months ago. And when Kate Fahey wasn't even in the top 5 for everybody, I had her ranked second. So I'm proud to see this come to fruition. And I think that she is going to be the one that's going to test Annalie Waters.
I think Leia playing her best beats anybody but Annalie. And I think Leia's at her best right now. Leia at her best versus Kate at her best. She's beating Kate.
I'm still taking Kate.
Kate can be more consistent, and 100%. I'm just saying, like, the last couple tournaments, Leia has been on a tear. Like, if we're taking overall, I don't know. But I think Leia's back.
And to Zane's point, Leia hadn't been as consistent at making it deeper into PPA draws in the last year. But if she is truly back to her top of her form, then I think we might see her challenging Annalie in a few more of these Championship Sunday matches. So the next tier of players we had, there was kind of a bunch tied in that came in right around 20 points in our standings. We had Kaitlyn Kerr and Brooke Buckner were actually tied for 4th. Then a name I'm not as familiar with, and maybe a lot of our listeners aren't as familiar with, Sophia Sewing came in at 5th place, and then Paris Todd just kind of rounded out that next tier of players. Who can tell me, Kaitlyn, you had Sophia Sewing ranked a little higher than all of us. You had her at 3rd. Zane had her at 4th. I had her all the way down at 9. Why am I wrong about that?
I mean, look, I played with Sophia Sewing in a pro tournament in India back in October of 2024. And I played against a lot of these girls, just rec play, singles. Like, I suck at singles, right? I can't move. I had a bunch of knee surgeries. I can at least get like a point, a couple points. Like, I can hang. Sophia Sewing, I could not get a point. I was praying for her to miss anything. Like, her athleticism and her shot making is out of this world. I think she's up there. When we're talking about Annalie and Kate and Leia, she is up there in terms of being one of the top athletes on tour. Kaitlyn Kerr is also another top athlete on the tour. And so, she only has upside. She has not been taught the game that well, like, yet. She hasn't had a coach. She's starting to get a lot better training. She's starting to take it a lot more seriously. But last year, I mean, she's still teaching tennis as her main priority, and she is now training a lot more. But I actually thought the Fives were going to take her for their women's partner, because she's in the Boca Raton area, and I knew that Harwood had his eye on her. But I don't know, maybe Zane has some more insight on Sophia, but I love her. I think she has tremendous upside.
No, I think we all do. As soon as I saw her play for the very first time, it was like three backhands. I was like, all right, this chick's gonna be really good. I don't think she signed a UPA deal, so she wasn't available for us to draft, or anybody to draft for that matter. I just can't imagine she was going to fall to a 5 or 6 spot either. Just people are seeing that potential. I'm slightly surprised that Tice has her at 7 after doing a profile on her. Yeah, I'd be curious to know why that is. I mean, I feel like the ball that she's playing, maybe she loses based on just experience to a Brooke Buckner or Paris, but man, I don't know. She's playing good ball and trending incredibly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Here's a couple things that went into that. First, we only really have 4 tournaments of hers. We have the PWR that Kaitlyn mentioned. We have 3 APPs where she got 2 golds and a silver. Like, she looks great. But there's just literally 4 tournaments where we've seen her. And Kaitlyn Christian, to me, has tied with Kate and ALW for the most medals thus far on the tour this year with 4. She has 2 wins and 2 silvers. So I have her up. She hasn't had the best results in the last 2, but like overall body of work, I think. And then to me, Brooke is the closest person in the last 6 months to take ALW to like almost winning, which she was up 9-4 in game 2. So I have them a little bit higher. So
one thing I just want to let the audience know is that Sophia Suing played at the University of Miami and left after her first year. She played tennis, left after her first year to go play tennis. And she's been playing tennis up until I think it was 2023. She's had injuries. So she's had knee injuries. So she can't move as well as she used to, but she still moves really well. And she's a competitor. She works really hard. We were drilling a ton when we were playing in India. So she wants it. So I think she can be, sky's the limit.
Moving on into our power rankings, we then had Catherine Prento and Salome Davidze, 2 players we're all very familiar with. It's not uncommon to see them making it deep into PPA draws. And then we had, rounding it out, Jeannie Bouchard, who was, for like 2 seconds, Zane's MLP teammate before she was traded, and Mary Brasha rounding out. Is there anybody not on this list that maybe will be on this list the next time we meet? Any names that we need to be on the lookout for?
I got one for you. I actually have 2. So if I could get her to move to America, I think Summer Dalabana would be a top 10 women's player in singles within 3 months. She only got to play that one time that I saw against Kaitlyn Christian and lost 12-10, 11-8 in Australia. And the other name that I think is going to crack the top 10 maybe in the next 3 to 4 months, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to say it's Elena Jansen, but she goes by Len. She recently beat Jeannie Bouchard, Mary Brasha, and took Brooke in 3. And she just lost to Kate 9-11, 9-11. She's super athletic and moves super well, so I would not be surprised to see her in the top 10 in the next few months.
So
okay, yeah, she's down there in terms of duper and like 36th in our rankings. Elena Jansen, yeah. It's a name I've been seeing popping up as well.
Yeah, she's the one that was drafted as the female sub for the Ranchers.
Yeah. She played doubles with Danny Jensen, I think, at Worlds in November. I met her. But yeah, super athletic.
I got nobody.
Okay.
So I think
my dark horse was Sophia from a few few months ago, but
I think Summer is definitely really good. I like this Summer.
So that wraps up our talk for women's singles. With that, I think it's time to talk about men's singles.
All right, guys. So we've got a graphic here. You know, I think the most interesting thing is obviously going to be the debate between Fed, Christian, who's on a tear, and Ben Johns. We still have overall Fed at number 1, but Kaitlyn has Christian as number 1. So, Kaitlyn, why don't you defend that Christian pick against the boys?
I mean, you know, this is like, are we talking current? I'm talking kind of current and future.
Current.
We're talking current and future, not past. Obviously, Federico has been so dominant. I really appreciate his body of work. I think he's put on a lot of work off the court, not just on the court, and drilling a ton, which has definitely improved his game. And it's amazing how far he's come since I first saw him in October 2022. But again, I go back to, I just did an interview with Lily Waters on Talk Pickle to Me, and she says that, she really believes in developing the athlete first. And that's how I lived my life. That's how my parents brought me up, my brother up, and that's what she believes. And the way that she's done that with AL Dub, and then the way she saw this in Christian. Christian is the best athlete on the men's side, in my opinion, by a long shot. I can't think of anybody else that is a better athlete, and there's no one else that also works harder. He has been on the wall. So one thing that Lee Waters said is that, versus anybody else, he practiced on the wall because he was in college and he didn't have people to practice with. So he started off his game on the wall. When I was playing soccer, all I did was hit against a wall because it gives you the best feedback. You hit it against the wall and it comes back to you the way you hit it. So anyway, his athleticism, his will to win, he's psycho competitive. His shots are coming along. You know, he said for a long time he didn't have the backhand from the baseline. We saw freaking unbelievable line drives with his backhand from the baseline this past tournament. He's took gold in the last two. And I don't see anybody, you know, he is up there. I don't see Federico or Ben. I mean, Ben, we know hasn't, you know, he's not the best athlete on tour. But he has been able to manipulate and play that cat and mouse game. And I think Christian has the athleticism, plus he's going to be able to play a lot more once he gets that backhand down. You know, he's very forehand dominant.
So I actually just posted on my Instagram page a chart of the medal counts of men's singles this year. I know. But I posed the question to my followers, if aliens invaded the U.S. and they said, we're going to obliterate planet Earth unless your pickleball champion can beat our pickleball champion, which men's singles player are you going to send? And right now, it's 40% Ben Johns, 33%, Federico Staksrud, 23%, Christian Alshon, and 1 vote for other. So, I mean, this is clearly a very divisive, but a very, it's up for debate right now, more than we've ever seen it before. The last 2 data points we have really favor Christian Alshon, back-to-back golds, getting golds for the first time ever. He was a singles specialist early in his career, but he never actually broke through and won a singles tournament. That's changed. I think Federico Staksrud, what's going on with his paddle situation, if we take peak form 2024 with that Yola power of Fed last year, I think I'm probably still taking him. And then Ben just hasn't been consistent at all in making it to championship Sundays lately. So that's why I knocked him down to 3.
Yeah, I think we got to take this as we're playing tomorrow, right? Power rankings, in my interpretation, is not necessarily indicative of anything that's happened previously. You break your ankle, you're out of the power rankings, right? You're number 1,000 at this point. So I think we're going to interpret this as not as what's been done before, not as what we expect to happen later. It's we're playing a match today. So, and I think given that, kind of surprising, maybe not surprising, that we have Ben Johns coming in at number 3. I was kind of expecting somebody to throw in a haymaker Chris Hayworth into the top 3. The guy's just been on an absolute tear, but we have him 5, 4, 4, and 4. Is there any argument to be made that Chris could be in that top 3 category?
Yeah, I think absolutely there's an argument to be made. The problem is we haven't seen him play on the PPA Tour in 7-8 months. He did win the Orange County Cup. So, I mean, he's proven that he can win on the PPA Tour. It's just the consistency. And I don't need to really talk much about his game, I don't think. He's got power from both sides. He's got elite level movement for like a 6'4" guy. I definitely think he's in the conversation, but until we see him week in and week out competing on the PPA Tour, I couldn't put him in the top 3.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, you got to play the best to be the best. I was kind of surprised with the amount of agreement that we've had in this. We have Chris Hayworth followed by Hunter Johnson, Connor Garnett, Jaume, Kwong. And then it gets a little interesting. Tice, you left Tyson out of the top 10. What was the thought process there? You've got Grayson and Noe in your top 10, but no Tyson.
Yeah, I think Grayson and Noe are playing great, and Tyson, when he plays, is good, but like Tyson has also pulled out of the last like 2 or 3 men's singles tournaments, and he plays great and then has little injuries. So if we're talking about power rankings and like best ability as availability, Tyson has some injury issues.
I had a tough time. with those next 4. Even, I had, with John, Lucien Goins, Grayson Golden, Noah Cleef, and then even Jack Sock. I was like debating whether or not I wanted to include him. Those 4 to me are almost interchangeable. I think Noe's really interesting. He's super athletic, clearly working a ton on his game. I like, somebody was saying that they can almost compare it to like a Fed or a Ben Johns. I don't know who tweeted that or who was talking about that, but he kind of is very regimented, I would call him. And so I like him too. Jack Sock's athleticism, obviously amazing. Shot making is amazing. So the 4 of those were tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, it looks like we have a clear top 8, and then it's kind of anybody's game after that. Tyson, John Lucian Goins, Grayson Golden, Noe, Jack, Dylan, J-Dub, Gabe. There's so many names. Zane Ford, right? Kind of down there in the duper. But after that, it's just very unclear. Are there any names that stick out to you guys real quickly as up and comers to watch in men's singles?
I mean, I think the obvious one is Zane Ford. Zane, you just had him on your pod. I'm also very excited later this year to see Team Zane in doubles. Zane and Zane playing
San
together.
Clemente.
That'll be a lot of fun to see.
Wow.
I mean, I think he's the name. Also, another name people maybe aren't as familiar with, but there's this guy named Vuk Velichkovic, and he's going to be coming to play some tournaments in the States later this year. He mainly is playing paddle, and he, of course, had that epic final match with William Sobek a few years back.
So
Sick. Apparently
I
he's
saw
going to be
that
coming
in
back
person.
to try to play some games later this year. So that's something to keep an eye on.
That was like 2 years ago. But that guy is super athletic. All right, so enough about singles. Let's move on to everyone's favorite, women's doubles. Remember, for this one, we moved from top 10 to top 15 because obviously there's just more talent on the doubles side. And we're also taking into consideration not only gender doubles, but this is also for mix. So we're looking at this as combined. So for us, we obviously had ALW and Anna Bright as our consensus number 1 and number 2. That makes sense. Everyone knows that. Everyone believes that. I don't think there's much debate there, as a whole. From 3 to 6, though, we all kind of got this jumbled up. So let's first debate these players. We got Tyra, Rachel Rohrbacher, Catherine Parento, and Georgia Johnson. Who wants to start us off with talking? Let's talk about Tyra Black.
Let's talk about her. She's the 3rd best player.
Yeah, I'm looking. I had her at 4, and if I could change this right now, I would put her at 3, especially after what we saw this past weekend. I mean, just anytime you win a gold medal in women's doubles and Annalie Waters is in the field and Annalie Waters was not your partner, like that right there is impressive. That is an A+ like resume boosting win.
So the interesting question here could be, Anna Lee is obviously 1. Anna Bright is number 2. Anna's not breaking up with Rachel. There's some speculation that maybe Anna Lee and Catherine are at their end. Catherine's frustrated. She's playing with Gen 1 technology. Like it's hard to keep up with a Selkirk paddle at this point, right? And I had her down at 6. That's I think she switches paddles. Like she's in a very good spot, but the question could be if Catherine is out for some random period of time, who does Anna Lee pick up? Who does Anna Lee think fits into that spot best with her? And I don't think matchup wise it would be Tyra. I'm looking at somebody like Georgia, which is why I have her way up there at 4. You guys have her a little bit lower down. So while Tyra is a great alpha left, and I've got her at number 3, right? Like, who does Anna Lee play with in the event that Catherine can't play?
I 100% think it's Georgia.
It's very tough.
Well, in
It's
MLP,
very
it's
tough.
going to be Megan Dizon, so that's something to keep an eye on for the 5s. But yeah, that is an interesting question for sure. Georgia seems like a good fit.
It's crazy. We've got Etta down here at 8 after a win as well, or after a big upset.
It is. I mean, look, I think Tyra is a dominant, like when the ball's in the air, there's almost no one more dangerous than her at the kitchen. Like she's able to hit different spots. She volleys super well. She counters well. And so if Anna Lee would play with her, she would I'd honestly kick Anna Lee to the right. And it's not even kicking her to the right. She could just play both. I mean, she can seamlessly interchange, and I think that's something also that Lee mentioned. She likes developing a player that can play both sides because your opportunities for partnerships just drastically open up. So it would be interesting to see her play with Tyra, and obviously Anna Lee and Lee Waters love playing with athletes, and Hurricane, Tyra is an amazing athlete. So I don't think that they would overlook her. But yeah, maybe besides her, I think maybe Georgia. I think the other person that, we talked about Etta. Etta, obviously, she wasn't seeing a lot of medals this past year. Same with Megan Dizon, but I'd love to talk about Megan Dizon. I mean, Zane, what did the five see in Megan that they wanted to, scoop her up to partner with AL Dub?
A really good pickleball player. Megan's great. Like, she's got all of the tools, and I don't know exactly what her partnership situation has been, right? It really is hard to make noise on the women's side, right? Because regardless of who you end up with, if you end up playing against Annalie and Catherine or the girlies anytime before a semifinal, you're going to get lost in the crowd, right? Like, you end up against those guys in the quarterfinals. Doesn't matter how well you're playing, you're likely going to lose, and nobody's going to know about your play, right? And I do feel like she's been lower in the rankings and tough to sort of break out of that. I think she's playing great ball. Her and Andre play really well together every time. Her and Etta had good results previously. So I think that the way that she's playing is not represented by her results necessarily.
I mean, that's the one thing that I am a little bit confused upon, because she played, I think, the entire year last year with Etta, and they had, if my understanding, I don't think they medaled. Did they medal?
They medaled.
I don't think they had a phenomenal year. No,
they did have a good. I think they won a tournament like early, but like in the last 6 months, I don't think they. I think you're right. Last 6 months, I don't think they medaled at all.
Right. Yeah, so that's just something to keep an eye out on. Another thing that I want to talk about is Kate Fahey. All right. I am the only one to have her in the top 15 players in the world in women's doubles. Tice, Matty, Zane, what do you got to say for yourselves there?
What is she done with anybody other than Anna Bright is what I have to say.
Yeah, when you take in the mixed consideration too, last year at MLP with a very strong mixed player, Gabe Tardio, of all the teams that played the season together and finished the season together, they were the worst team in MLP. Again, it's like we've seen in singles, we just need to see it a little bit more. And even if we've seen a few little signs of a breakthrough here, we'd really just need I think I just need to see more consistent results. And this MLP season will be a great chance to showcase that again with just added experience with the same partner and continuity. So we'll see how that goes.
I think Kate ends the year top 8. I think right now she's not top 15. She just hasn't had the results with anybody other than Anna. Mixed, we're taking into consideration mixed. She's had good mixed partners as well. Again, betting on her, but right now, again, we're taking Matty Pickles' situation of aliens are coming down and you need to pick your mixed doubles lineup. She's not in my top 15.
The only thing I'll ask you guys, if you had an MLP team today, would you take Lacey Schneeman, Jade Kawamoto?
Yes.
Callie Jo Smith, Vivian Glosman, all these players, you're saying you would take them over Kate Fahey right now?
I gave Callie the nod at 15 just because anytime you get a win over AL, you're gonna be 15 on this list at the very least.
Agree with that. MLP is different than ranking a female doubles player, though. MLP is very different.
But I don't think it's that different. It is different, but I don't know how much different.
Callie's a better doubles player. Callie's a much better doubles player, and in MLP she doesn't have to play as much singles. Kate's 2 or 3 singles player.
I would just also say, like, Kate's doubles have gotten incredibly better in the past 6 months to 9 months. In terms of her footwork, like, I've noticed that very significantly. She's staying on the line longer. Even when she does get off the line, she's back to the line much quicker. She's holding the line, and I really do think her play is getting much better. And here's the other thing too. She got drafted and then didn't have much success with Gabe. So then I don't know if she got the best partners towards the end of 2024. People already had partners, those types of things. I think she is getting better partners now. And like Zane said, I think she's definitely finishing top 10 in doubles by the end of the year. Right now, not as many results, but I 100% think that that's going to happen.
And there was a bronze medal with Dylan Frazier in Tucson earlier this year that we do need to address as well.
That is what I was going to bring up. Thank you, Maddie. All right, so rounding this out, we had Viv Glosman, Callie Jo Smith, and Jessie all receive votes for the top 15, but didn't crack the overall top 15. Is there anybody in that lineup? I mean, we've seen Jessie have pretty good runs with Gabe. Obviously, Callie, we saw, beat Anna Lee with Etta. Viv Glosman has been stuck on, she's not able to play PPA. I'm still kind of confused what's going on there, but she hasn't even been able to play a tournament. So does she deserve to be in the top 15?
Yeah, if Zane's dinging people for their availability, I feel like that's more injury related, less so than maybe contract related.
Yeah, I would say that's. I mean, I didn't have her. I had her just outside of my top 15, but I think you have to assume in our hypothetical of fighting aliens, which I love, Matty P, that she would be available. And UPA wouldn't tell her that she can't fight the aliens.
The UPA is not going to let us pick from the full player pool, even with the fate of the Earth on the line. They're going to say, nope, you signed a contract. You can't go fight the aliens. Sorry.
Are there going to be more than 8 other pro pickleball players there? No, you can't fight the aliens.
That is good.
All right.
Let's move on to men's doubles. Eric?
Okay, so this one, the start of this is easy. We have Ben Johns is number 1, Alshon is number 2, Diescu is 3, and Fed is 4. Zane and Maddie both have Diescu at 1, and me and Kaitlyn have him at 4th. Kaitlyn, I'm going to stay out of this one unless you raise the white flag, need help. You're now arguing against Zane and Maddie by yourself.
Let's get her.
The interesting thing is that Ben is composite number 1 in our rankings, but me, Kaitlyn, and Maddie all had him at 2, which means that Ben, Christian, Andre, and Fed are all kind of cannibalizing each other there in that spot. So you guys want me to start? Andre Diescu is the best player in pickleball on an average day right now. The guy doesn't take bad losses. He is a completely just there's not a single better competitor. I will stand by that. And so if we're fighting aliens, you want a guy that is a competitor. Doesn't have mixed medals. He also isn't playing with Anna Bright or Georgia or Anna Lee. What are you gonna do?
It seems like he's been adding some newer elements to his game too. I've noticed him first of all, just him playing on the right next to Ben kind of showcased a whole new skill set that we don't usually see from him. And again, just the 3 in a row gold medals for Andre Diescu is such an incredible achievement that I gave him the number 1 nod. The fact that he also took then another partner, so it's his 3rd different partner he's taken to a finals this year. He is clearly just, doing it all. He's doing it from the left. He can do it from the right. He's the guy, if I wanted someone to hype me up, he made Dylan Frazier look like an emotional player. They were chest bumping, fist bumping. I hadn't really seen that side of Dylan so much, and he was able to pull that out. And they took Ben and Gabe to the brink, just like Zane did, by the way. I mean, the guy's just a competitor. I'm with Zane on this, and that's why I put him number 1.
I'm gonna curtail and go on your side for a hot second, and then go back to why I put him where he is.
Let's go.
Andre Diescu is a savage. Okay, this guy, like Zane and Maddie said, is one of the best competitors in the game. He is unbelievable. He also can do yoga better than anyone on tour. I'd put that up there.
Why?
He's not even playing with a top. I mean, he's playing with a proton. He's not playing with a Yola. But he's like a chameleon. That's the way I would describe Andre Diescu. He can play either side. He's a super fantastic teammate and partner to whoever he's playing with. So I love all of that, and he is consistent. When you talk to top pros about what is necessary to be a great pickleball player, consistency is definitely in the top 3 things. So love that from him. I have Christian, ranked a lot higher than him because, again, I go back to, Zane, wants to do it right this second, but I would say even if I had to choose right this second, I'd still go with Christian on it, although you're taking out of 10 games, you'd probably want to take Andre Dascu, but I just think Alshon in a couple months, he is just a better athlete. He is a better, like, he's younger, he's more fiery, he's going to improve his game. I mean, Andre has stayed up at the top. I think he's 30. Is he 35? I want to say he's 34 or 35.
Thereabouts.
And you would never know because he's in great shape. He outworks everybody. So it's hard for me to argue against him. I just think from a top tier, a top talent perspective, I'm going to go with Alshon.
You sounded like you made more of a case for
I know.
For Andre than anything. You sound like you agree with us, but you don't want to admit it.
This
yeah,
is true.
and here's the thing. Like, I think Christian is playing like really, really good ball. I had him at number 3, right? Like the margins are so thin up there. I do think that Christian probably has a slight edge on Andre in mixed, which might have some of the delta there. But Andre never takes a bad loss. Christian does occasionally. He's cleaned that up a bunch. But, like, Andre just never takes a bad loss, and he has good wins all the time. Like, there's not a more consistent player and upside player as well.
Yeah, taking mixed into consideration, you could definitely make an argument for Ben and Christian ahead of Andre. Christian did just have the interesting loss early to Eric Onsens and Alex Truong with Catherine Parento. That was an interesting one. Ben at 2, Christian at 3 for me, and I had Federico at 4 as well. That's kind of where we all seem to have a little bit of a drop-off into that next tier of players.
Yeah, so then at 5th, we have Hayden. 6 is Gabe. 7 is JW. And 8th is CJ. Who wants to talk about those 4?
Yeah, I boosted CJ into that 8th spot. I think J-Dub and CJ both get a good bump up because that partnership is electric is the wrong word, personality based, but like they could not be better fits for one another, right? Like CJ and J-Dub played against Ben and Andre, and CJ was in Cape Coral, the best player on that court, and it wasn't close. When he's got a good partner, which he hasn't historically had either, he's getting great partners now because people are seeing it. The dude is really, really freaking good and a good mixed doubles player as well. We're going to see him get better partners, and as a result, he's going to be contending for these medal stands. I think J-Dub and CJ are the 3rd best team in pickleball if they play together.
Speaking of CJ2, we did just see him win a gold with Andre Dascu. At the end of the year, it wasn't a fully filled out draw. There's a few players missing, but also we'll see them in MLP. That'll be a lot of fun to see. I agree with Zane. J-Dub and CJ are like, I don't even know how to describe it either. They're like an awkward energy team, but it's just like captivating. I mean, they also are so patient, but then they have the hands. Like you can't speed it up at them, and that's why we saw a 2.5 minute dink battle against Ben. And again, in that match that Zane was talking about, I mean, it was just remarkable.
Should we talk Willie? All right, let's bring it in from here. Well, while we expect Eric was going to make a really, 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 really good point about Will, we just don't know what that's going to be because he can't figure out his internet. So, I think Will is an interesting one, right? And the reason that I put him at 10 was because that's where I had him the last time we had him play against PPA MLP players, right? He and I had a good second half of the year, and it was mostly him. He's a baller, like great left side player, but we have like 0 overlapping results at the beginning of this year. So it's hard for me to bump him up into the anywhere over a Deckel, J-Dub, Gabe. And I think, you guys had him at about the same area. Tice was the only one that had him in that top 10. So I assume you guys agree with me, but
yeah, I agree with you. Also, Deckel had an incredible year last year. So, I mean, I had him at 10. I had Will Howes at 11. Yeah, we got a little Deckel shirt right there. I had Dylan Frazier at 9. And I kind of feel like, I don't know why, I'm just getting good energy from Dylan lately. He switched paddles. Zane talked about the Selkirks earlier. I think he's been using the Yola, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not mistaken. We'll
No,
fact
no,
check that. Yeah, I'm right. Okay.
You're correct. Yeah, I feel like anybody gets if you go from a Selkirk to a Yola, you get like a 0.3 on your duper pretty much immediately at this point. So yeah, that paddle's gonna do him wonders. I think he's still like dialing it in, right? We haven't seen any crazy results out of him yet, which is why he's not quite in my top 10. But I could see him having a resurgence this year.
I think we should talk about Noe Cliff and Eric Onsens. Zane, myself, and Tice all had him in that 12, 13, 14 area. Matty Pickles just absolutely ghosted the duo. What do you have to say about Eric and Noe?
I felt like ranking either of them would be some kind of statement on this trade, and I didn't want Ryan DeWidgeon, the GM of the Texas Ranchers, blowing me up if I messed it up. So I took the cowards route. No, but the truth is that for me, I guess I could really see putting Noe in here because he has got some results to kind of back it up. But for Eric, again, I just kind of feel like we've seen glimpses of it, especially like this past week, but I just haven't really seen consistently enough. Like these power rankings for me are like, yeah, I'm taking like kind of right now, but I also like, if what we've seen recently is just kind of a flash in the pan, or if it's like, I just feel like you need a little bit more substance to back it up before I was willing to put him into the top 15. And the guys I have kind of in that range, like Augie got 12, even Riley Newman, maybe he shouldn't even be on this list anymore. That's the interesting topic. Tyson McGuffin and Jean-May, I feel like we've just seen it a little bit more from them. And Eric is like, and Noah are just like kind of right on the heels of that group.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Like, it's really hard to. One result is you can't build any sort of trend off of that. But like, wouldn't you take that over whatever Augie has had? What has Augie done recently?
He's got some semis with Jame, has he not? If I'm not mistaken.
MLP title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this year. You don't have to fucking remind me about the MLP title, all right, Kate? I get that one, all right? I was there for that one, unfortunately.
Just had to throw that one in there. No.
I get that one, all right? But like this year, I don't know if I haven't seen anything out of Augie. Tice, do you know? Has he done much this year?
I think he played with Mary Brasha mixed. I don't think he's done.
Yeah, I don't think he's medaled. I'm actually very confident he has not medaled.
Yeah, I don't have him on my medal charts here.
Either. So yeah, he definitely has not had the success he was having towards the end of 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maddie, bum take.
I wanted to say, bring up one other player. We talked about Andre Deescu being an absolute chameleon. What about our guy Zane Navratil being a chameleon? One of the best teammates in the entirety of pro pickleball. An amazing athlete. Constantly, I feel like you're all over pickleball. Like you're studying, like you study it, like you're so involved in it, from talking it to playing it constantly to doing YouTube videos. Like you have, I don't know. I feel like everyone still underestimates you on the court.
I feel like, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the one pity point. I feel like if there is a very high pressure situation, I do feel like I rise to that sort of occasion, right? Maybe more so than some of the other ones. So maybe I would be good at fighting the aliens, but yeah, your average PPA, if that is the what we're going with as well, like. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm around that 15 cusp, sure.
Yeah.
If this was a power ranking of how many notifications I get on my phone related to a certain pro player, Zane would be number one for sure. I get YouTube notifications, shorts. I mean, he's everywhere.
I mean, we don't even have James Ignatowicz in the top 15. I mean, talk about a guy that was like at least top 10, maybe top 5 at the beginning of last year, and we don't even have him in our top 15.
And I didn't really even consider him that seriously.
No, not at all. I mean, like just the way that he has, like, I think again, to me, the stuff that I see him doing on tour, he's like not on his phone whatsoever. Like he is dialed in right now, but he's got some stuff to work through. Like I do think we're going to see a resurgence from him, like skill and talent wise. There's not a reason that he shouldn't be in that top 10 consideration. Nobody can hit the ball harder than James on tour. But he's got to figure some stuff out. I do think he's doing the right things though. But yeah, current work, no, he's probably outside the top 20 for sure. Sweet. Well, any up and comers you guys want to discuss on this one, or yeah, what do you guys think?
Max Freeman. I mean, he's definitely been one that's getting a lot of results. He's a lefty. A lot of mixed players are talking very highly of him. A lot of women that I'm hearing are talking very highly of him, and he's obviously had some results recently, also in singles. But he's one I'm definitely keeping an eye out for.
Zane Ford, people say it can't be done because of his extreme grips, but the guy plays violent pickle.
Violent is a great word.
Violent pickle.
And I'm just looking at the list. Maybe not an up-and-comer, but maybe one snub here. Was Pablo Tejas not making our list?
That's fair. He's permanently kind of undervalued in some of this stuff, but he's one of those guys you can really bring it for a couple random matches, a couple random tournaments, and can also have some pretty rough losses. So, alrighty, guys. First power rankings in the book for us. This is a good time. We'll dial it in. We'll get better at this, but we need your help as well. Like we want to continue to bring this type of stuff to you. We needed to start somewhere or another, but please be brutally honest with us in the comments. If you say that you don't want Matty Pickles on the show anymore, I'm with you. I get that too. That's the type of commentary, the kind of feedback that we need from you guys. So please be brutally honest and give us whatever you liked, what you didn't like, any sort of suggestions. We want to make this compelling, entertaining, something that people want to listen to on a monthly basis.